The story of Tina Turner begins far from the glitz of the Grammys, in the rural back roads of Nutbush, Tennessee. Born Anna Mae Bullock on November the 26th, 1939, she arrived at a time and place where opportunities were limited, especially for a black girl from a poor family. Her parents were sharecroppers who often quarreled. Life was harsh, money was scarce, and stability was hard to come by. Tina was sent to live with her grandmother at a young age as her parents moved on in search of better work. That sense of abandonment stuck with her, planting seeds of both independence and longing. She became self-reliant, learning early on that no one was going to hand her an easy life. As a child, Anna Mae had a spark that caught people's attention. She was always energetic, eager to help, and she loved singing in the local church choir. Her voice was something else, powerful, raw, and full of feeling. Even as a teenager, she had a commanding presence that hinted at a special kind of destiny. By 17, she found herself in St. Louis, reunited with her mother and discovering the city's vibrant rhythm and blues scene. It was there she first encountered Ike Turner, a talented bandleader who was making waves with his Kings of Rhythm. Tina's older sister took her to a nightclub where Ike was playing. When Ike heard this teenage girl belt out a B.B. King tune, it was as if he'd discovered a secret weapon. He quickly invited her to join his act, sensing she could be the key to a new sound and a bigger audience. In the late 1950s, Ike was a local star known for his guitar skills and arrangement talents, but he lacked that memorable front-line vocalist. When Anna Mae Bullock stepped onto the stage, everything changed. Ike, seeing her potential, renamed her Tina Turner, a catchy moniker that felt sharper, bolder, just like her voice. From the get-go, Tina's performances had an electricity few had ever seen. She'd dance, shimmy, and wail into the microphone like a tornado in high heels. The crowds loved it. By the 1960s, the Ike and Tina Turner Revue was a force to be reckoned with, touring relentlessly across the country. They scored hits like A Fool in Love, It's Gonna Work Out Fine, and the now legendary cover of Creedence Clearwater Revival's Proud Mary. On stage, Tina was unstoppable, a ball of fire in fringe dresses, delivering powerful vocals that perfectly balanced grit and grace. The media took notice. Ike was the band leader, but Tina was the star, exuding a gritty soulfulness that made each performance an event. They even attracted rock icons like the Rolling Stones, who invited Ike and Tina to open for them. A groundbreaking move at a time when crossing genres and racial lines in the music industry was no small matter. Despite the success, trouble brewed behind the scenes. Ike Turner, once a mentor and partner, became abusive and controlling. He controlled finances, creative decisions, and every detail of Tina's life. Over time, what began as a professional alliance and romantic relationship descended into a nightmare. Tina endured physical beatings, emotional abuse, and relentless manipulation. She would later reveal how she once swallowed sleeping pills to escape the pain, only to be revived and forced back on stage as though nothing had happened. On the surface, they were a star duo climbing the charts. Behind closed doors, Tina was trapped in a cycle of violence, her self-esteem in tatters. By 1976, enough was enough. Tina famously fled Ike with just 36 cents and a gas station credit card in her pocket. She hid in a motel, fearful for her life. At this point, many doubted she could sustain a career on her own. Her name had always been tied to Ike Turner's brand. But Tina, desperate for freedom, set out on a journey that would eventually redefine her entire identity. "I didn't walk out to be a star," she would recall. "I walked out because I was tired of being hurt." The legal battles were harsh. She was left with almost no money, forced to rebuild from scratch. For a while, Tina took on whatever gig she could land. Vegas shows, small clubs, even TV variety spots. She also cleaned houses and worked odd jobs to support her children and herself. The transition was anything but glamorous. By the early 1980s, though, little sparks of hope started to ignite. Tina's raw talent and resilience began attracting the attention of producers who believed in her potential as a solo artist. A spark came when she performed a cover of Al Green's Let's Stay Together, which found modest success, hinting that there might be an audience for a Tina Turner reimagined. At the age of 44, most female singers in the pop rock sphere were often told to gracefully bow out or pivot to adult contemporary ballads. Tina decided otherwise. In 1984, with the help of Capitol Records, she released the album Private Dancer. The single, What's Love Got to Do With It, soared to number one on the Billboard Hot 100, making her, at 44, the oldest female solo artist to achieve that feat at the time. That moment wasn't just a chart triumph, it was a cultural watershed. Here stood Tina Turner, who had lived a life of harrowing lows, reinvented as a global pop rock powerhouse. The success of Private Dancer was staggering. It sold millions of copies worldwide, earned her 4 Grammy Awards, and launched her onto stadium stages she'd only dreamed of earlier in her career. Suddenly, Tina was ubiquitous. Interviews, music videos on MTV, magazine covers. Fans gravitated not just to her strong voice and dynamic stage presence, but also to her personal story, a testament to survival and reinvention that resonated deeply across generations. Following Private Dancer, Tina kept the momentum going with albums like Break Every Rule, 1986, and Foreign Affair, 1989. She toured the globe, headlining massive arenas, and even setting attendance records in places like Brazil, where more than 180,000 fans packed the Maracanã Stadium to watch her perform. Hollywood came calling too. She appeared in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 1985, alongside Mel Gibson, playing the fierce anti-entity. Her performance brought another wave of new fans who were enthralled by her tough, commanding presence. She recorded We Don't Need Another Hero for the film soundtrack, another hit that sealed her star status. While critics pointed out that her voice was huskier than ever, those low, gravely tones only made her renditions more distinct. But behind the success, Tina was also seeking something more personal. Peace of mind. A new relationship blossomed with Erwin Bach, a German music executive she'd met in the mid-1880s. Their bond grew slowly, nurtured by mutual respect and genuine affection, a stark contrast to her earlier experiences. Erwin supported her unconditionally, a grounding force amid the chaos of tours and media appearances. By the late 1990s, Tina had collected countless accolades, multiple Grammys, massive record sales, and a reputation as a top-tier live performer. Yet she felt a pull toward a quieter life, yearning for the stability and love she had been denied for so long. She wrote a best-selling autobiography, I, Tina, which was adapted into the 1993 film What's Love Got to Do With It, starring Angela Bassett as Tina. The movie earned critical praise and introduced her story to a fresh audience, some who knew her only from her 1980s hits, and others who hadn't realized the trauma she endured during the Ike and Tina years. The film provided a stark, often unsettling glimpse into her past. It also underscored the towering achievement of her rebirth, from battered wife to global icon. By the time the 1990s drew to a close, Tina Turner was widely recognized as more than a rock star. She was a survivor and a symbol of resilience. In the early 2000s, Tina began stepping back from the frantic pace of show business. She performed fewer concerts, eventually announcing a retirement from full-scale touring. Officially, she was done. But whenever she did pop up, say, to do a cameo performance with Beyoncé at the 2008 Grammy Awards, the world erupted in excitement, cheering on the unstoppable, ageless Queen of Rock. During this period, she moved to Switzerland with Erwin Bach, eventually relinquishing her American citizenship to become Swiss. Some fans were surprised by her decision, but Tina explained she wanted a serene life by Lake Zurich, away from the glare of fame. She felt she'd earned it. Unfortunately, health complications started to mount. In 2013, Tina suffered a stroke just 3 weeks after marrying Erwin Bach, leaving her temporarily unable to walk. Through months of rehabilitation, she fought her way back to stability. By 2016, she was diagnosed with intestinal cancer. Then her kidneys began to fail, leading Erwin to donate one of his own in 2017 to save her life. Throughout these struggles, Tina kept a low profile, granting very few interviews. When she did speak publicly, she was forthright about her battles, expressing gratitude that she'd finally found a loving relationship and a peaceful home. In the midst of it all, tragedy struck her family. Her son Craig died by suicide in 2018, a devastating blow that tested her resolve yet again. In 2022, her son Ronnie passed away from cancer. For a woman who had already endured so much, these losses were profoundly heartbreaking. Though her physical health deteriorated, friends said Tina found a kind of spiritual calm in her final years. She embraced Buddhism in the late 1970s, influenced by a friend who introduced her to chanting, finding solace in its teachings of inner strength and self-reflection. That faith and her love for Erwin seemed to give her a sense of acceptance. Many recalled how she would reflect on her life and say she'd had a full ride, the good, the bad, and everything in between. She was thankful for the career that brought her from Nutbush to the world's biggest stages, and for the personal growth that allowed her to break free from trauma. She believed she had accomplished everything she set out to do, and then some. On May the 24th, 2023, Tina Turner died at her home in Küsnacht, near Zurich, at the age of 83. The official statement mentioned a long illness, and family members said she passed peacefully, free from the loud drama that had once overshadowed her early life. News of her death reverberated around the globe. Tributes poured in from celebrities, politicians, and fans of all ages. Many described feeling a deep personal loss, as if a bright light had gone out in the world. But there was also a collective sense of awe at how thoroughly she had triumphed over impossible odds. When we look at the numbers, over 100 million albums sold worldwide, 12 Grammy Awards, 2 inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, once with Ike in 1991, and again solo in 2021, it's clear that Tina left a monumental legacy. Yet the numbers only tell half the story. Her impact on popular culture is woven into the careers of countless artists she inspired. From Beyoncé to Rihanna, from Lady Gaga to Lizzo, you can hear echoes of Tina's fierce determination and refusal to be boxed in. She showed that a woman over 40 could break records and command arenas in an industry often fixated on youth. She showed that a survivor of abuse could build a new life, harnessing her pain and turning it into unstoppable momentum. Broadway even immortalized her in Tina, the Tina Turner musical, capturing her life story in vivid, high-energy detail. Audiences flocked to witness the remarkable journey, the rough beginnings in Nutbush, the tumultuous Ike and Tina years, the reemergence as a solo superstar, and finally the quiet retirement in Switzerland. Her memoir, I, Tina, is still widely read, and the film adaptation, What's Love Got to Do with It, remains a reference point whenever discussions of domestic violence, courage, and redemption arise. Behind the global adoration, however, are many personal anecdotes that fans and colleagues share. People recall how, after shows, Tina would sign autographs for nearly every fan who waited, sometimes long past midnight. She once insisted on paying extra attention to a young woman in the crowd who reminded her of herself at that age, telling her, "Don't you ever let anyone tell you that you can't, honey. You can." Her band members remember a perfectionist who demanded intense rehearsals, but who also treated them like extended family. She'd prepare home-cooked meals while on tour, making sure everyone felt cared for. One close friend told a story about Tina visiting a hospital in secret to console women recovering from domestic abuse. There were no cameras, no press, just Tina quietly offering words of comfort to those who had walked a path similar to her own. Unsurprisingly, the day Tina's death was announced, social media lit up with emotional tributes. Fans posted videos of her iconic performances, her hair wild, her legs in constant motion, belting out River Deep Mountain High, or dancing fiercely to Nutbush city limits. Older viewers reminisced about the first time they saw the Ike and Tina Turner review, perhaps opening for the Stones or tearing up a local TV variety show. Younger audiences discovered her anew, stunned by the raw stage power and the uplifting message behind her rise. Fellow musicians, from classic rock legends to modern pop stars, expressed gratitude for the doors Tina opened. She was lauded not just for her voice, but for her unstoppable will. One particularly moving story emerged from a fan who met Tina in the early 1980s, right before Private Dancer catapulted her back into the limelight. The fan approached her after a small club show. Noticing Tina looked weary, the woman offered a bouquet of flowers and said, "Thank you for singing tonight." Tina, teary-eyed, explained she wasn't sure if people still wanted to hear her music. The fan replied, We always will." Decades later, that same fan recounted the story, noting how incredible it was to watch Tina ascend to stardom again, knowing that behind the unstoppable performer stood a human being who once doubted her place in the world. Tina never forgot that moment. She said it gave her hope when she desperately needed it. By the time she passed, Tina had endured more heartbreak than most could imagine. She lost her parents. Her relationship with Ike ended in violence and legal battles. She also suffered the tragic deaths of 2 children. She battled grave illnesses, stroke, kidney failure, and cancer. Yet each time life struck her down, she found a way to stand up again, holding her chin high. The physical scars and emotional wounds were part of her story, but they never defined her spirit. She was, in every sense of the word, a warrior. Reflecting on Tina Turner's journey, one is struck by the paradox. Her life was undeniably painful, but also spectacular. She rose from a battered soul in the shadows to an international superstar shining under the brightest lights. In a world that often celebrates overnight success and fleeting fame, Tina's career arc is a reminder that true greatness can take time. It can involve walking away from everything you know, swallowing the fear, and starting from zero. It can involve forging ahead even when your body and heart are tired. And above all, it can involve believing in your own worth, even if the world tries to convince you otherwise. Thank you for taking this journey with me through the life and final days of Tina Turner, a woman who spent decades in darkness only to become a beacon of light for millions. She taught us that it's never too late to reclaim your power, that music can save your soul, and that enduring love is possible even after years of hurt. If you have memories of Tina, maybe her songs helped you through a rough patch, or you danced to Proud Mary at your wedding, I invite you to share those moments. We can honor her by remembering that each of us has the capacity to rise above the pain, find our own voice, and shine, just like the unstoppable queen who overcame hell and claimed her rightful throne. May she rest in peace, and may her spirit keep on rolling, reminding us of what true resilience sounds like.